I'm Crazy Jake of Crazy Jake's Content Dealership. With the deals I've got, you'll think I lost my marbles. Don't click off the video. Here at Crazy Jake's, I'm out of my gosh darn mind, and I'm practically giving these videos away. And in the pit of my madness, I elected to put count them, 3 videos in one. That's right, the video you're watching has 3 videos inside of it, all for free. In the fiscal year of 2024, I just had too many ideas for video, and they gotta go somewhere. And I'm so cuckoo bananas crazy mode that I thought to myself, hey, why don't I make a year in review video in which I make 3 small versions of videos I wanted to make but couldn't. And then I thought, yeah, that'd be a great idea. I should post it on New Year's Eve. And then I missed the deadline by 2 full weeks. Cause I'm nuts. But here at Crazy Jake's, we only care about one thing, the viewer, so I'm posting it anyway. I just edit it out every time I said last year or New Year, so you can't even tell. And as a special offer just for you, I included a special segment where I go through 4 honorable mentions. That's right, 4 ideas I would never touch with a 10-foot pole, but thought were funny enough to tell you about. All for free! So keep on watching. And after you finish the video, come on down to Crazy Jake's Content Dealership off I-95 between the empty lot that used to be a Wendy's and the cemetery. Now let's get on to those honorable mentions. Meanwhile, I'll try to explode this guy's head with the power of my mind. Folks, it's that special time of year yet again, the beginning of the year. And the support that you guys have given me this year has been so enormous and exceeded my expectations by a long shot. So I wanted to say thank you for that and also give you a little gift, a little peek behind the curtain at my video making process. Because today I want to go through all of these video ideas that I didn't end up making and speed run making the best ones. But before we get into that, I wanted to give you some honorable mentions. These are video ideas that I don't think I'll ever really be able to make these. So this part of the video is just free ideas. I'm just gonna list off these ideas and you take them if you want them. Just credit me if you ever make them. I guess I'll also like mock up thumbnails for these too. That might be fun. The first idea, going to a theme park and not experiencing the theme. This is one of those videos that I think falls into the category of like kind of a stupid, silly thing to do. When I came up with this, I remember thinking like, that is so smart. There's like so much being said there. And then the more I think about it, the more I'm like, no, this is actually just me paying to go to a theme park and having a worse time. Like, you know why people like going to Disneyland, right? It's walking around and not seeing anything. Second idea, making an app that doesn't suck ass. This one is specifically about Be Real. I am actually going to talk about Be Real more later in this video, but I was so shocked at how Be Real like declined in quality this year. I've also generally noticed a lot of apps that I use moving towards this like increase of using ads and ruining your user experience for no reason, changing the UI every 6 months just to say they did something. And that's such a common experience on like any mobile app that I was like, oh, maybe it's not like the app developer's fault. Maybe there are like systemic issues that lead to you having to make your app suck really bad. So I thought it would be fun to try and make an app that had no ads and also was, you know, a pretty user-friendly experience and see how long I could keep it that way. Then I realized I do not know how to do that at all. I'm pretty sure that making an app and getting it on the App Store is very hard and costs a lot of money, and it's not something that a guy with a film degree can just like get up one day and do, I imagine. So that idea also did not get off the ground. This third one I'm actually really interested in. This is becoming an ethical street interviewer. Now, it's undeniable that street interviews are the cornerstone of American culture. They gave us Hawk Tua Girl, which then gave us Talk Tua, which then gave us Talking Talk Tua. How much more do you need to hear before you realize street interviews are an institution? But too many of them are just interviewing people drunk outside of bars and like deliberately taking those clips out of context to make those people look really bad. Based off of what I've seen on Instagram and TikTok, I think about 95% of the people who start street interview channels are evil, and the rest are people asking you, what are you listening to right now? And then you get to say, I'm listening to Higher by Creed. And then I'm 3 hours deep into scrolling on Instagram Reels when I'm supposed to be working, and I go, I like that song. That's a song I like. I'm editing this video right now, and I just realized I never explained what the actual premise of being an ethical street interviewer is. Basically, the idea was like, I'd go do a street interview, and I'd be like, hey, what's like the kindest thing you've ever done for someone? Just asking like nice questions to make the people I'm interviewing look really good instead of looking bad. And I didn't wind up doing it because I don't want to do that. I don't want to go out and talk to 100 strangers on the street. Now, this last idea isn't so much an honorable mention as it is something I found in my notes app that I'm not 100% sure where it came from. And this is just, I hunted James Charles. I don't know what that means. I don't know why I wrote that. I have a vague memory of thinking it might be funny to like try and geo-wizard a celebrity, like using Google Maps and like cross-referencing stuff to try to figure out where they are in like something they post. I guess James Charles was just on my mind at the time. I don't know. But yeah, so that's an idea you guys could take if you want. You don't even have to credit me on that one. You can just have that one. The first unreleased video that I will be making today is about Irwin Saunders. Irwin Saunders is one of, if not the most incredible personas I've ever encountered on the internet.
So good morning, my name's Irwin. I might just leave it half an hour because also the other reasons I don't know where my hat's gone.
If you haven't been lucky enough to stumble upon his content organically, let me paint you a picture, okay? Just imagine the kindest, oldest British grandpa you can think of, okay? And now imagine that grandpa has dedicated their entire life to hunting pixies and goblins in the woods.
Oh, there he is. Okay. He's off.
He found a freaking pixie, guys! Pixies are real! Pixies confirmed 2025! Lock your small trinkets away lest they be snatched in the night! Just kidding. Obviously, this is CGI, and when I first saw it, I was very like, oh, what the hell? He's faking these videos for engagement. But here's the thing. I don't think he is. Okay, I should rephrase that because I do think these are fake. I'm not saying I think this guy is real, but I don't think it's about engagement. There's a lot of theories circulating in the Irwin-verse about whether or not Irwin is even a real guy. Most people kind of think that he is a character being played by an actor, which is just as interesting as if he were a real guy to me, because that means all 41 of the videos on his channel are interactive fictional media. And that's really cool. Also, the CGI that is being done is really good for a YouTube video. I hate to say it, but like, I mess around a bit in Blender. I've done some compositing in my life. I probably couldn't do as good of a job on these little goblins as Irwin is doing. And all of that just builds up this feeling of extreme earnestness, even if Irwin is an actor. Like, I don't honestly care if he's a real guy or not, because they have spent so much time inviting us into this whimsical world of magic and wonder and strange little gray men.
Right, well, that one's the male. So
I dare you to look me in the eyes and tell me that you think Irwin is just doing this as a prank.
to hopefully get a more likely result, I'm going to put down some of these, which are flying saucers of sweets that are filled with sherbet, and they go mad for the sherbet. So
even if they're not real, he cares about these little freaks. And if the goblins and pixies are not to your liking, there's also a weird human drama that's playing out in the background of this whole thing. Over a few years of posting, Irwin slowly lets the audience in on the fact that he's feeling a lot of discontent about making and creating videos for the internet. Could say he's feeling discontent with content. You know what I mean? Here's my impression of Lin-Manuel Miranda doing an Irwin Saunders musical. Discontent with this content. Basically, Irwin is being helped with his video making by this guy, Tom. Tom is having Irwin do more like YouTube-y stuff, like asking people to like and subscribe.
like and subscribe, and I hate saying that. I really hate saying that, but Tom said I have to say it at the end. Like and subscribe.
And so over the course of 41 videos, you kind of get this interesting back and forth between Irwin as a creative and pixie hunter and this guy, Tom, who's trying to change him. And to address the elephant in the room, I also make and post content online. And so maybe that's part of the reason I find Irwin so relatable. But if you ask me, I think whether you're there for the goblins or the gray men or even just the guy. There's something there for everybody in these videos, and I really feel that. At the very least, they're a really charming and sweet break from whatever you might have going on in your life. Love him or hate him, Irwin Saunders is a calming orator, dude. He has a soothing voice. You could fall asleep to this easy.
And if so, he'll have to go past us, so we'll get a decent...
When it's all said and done, after a long day of work, who wouldn't want to feel like they're wandering in the woods with an old wizard who's proven the existence of goblins? I know I would. Now, the main reason I didn't do a full video about Irwin Saunders is I honestly think the content kind of speaks for itself. Also, let's be real. I don't know if anybody wants to watch me talk about a strange British man for 20 minutes straight. Anyways, stream Irwin Saunders. Idea number 2. I faked the best Be Real of the year. Now, if you don't know, Be Real is an app that once a day, every day, will prompt you to post a picture from your front and back camera. Be Real was incredibly popular a year ago and has become an absolute ghost town since then. It used to be a cool app that a bunch of people I knew used, and now it's just a place where me and a few other friends of mine will go on because my caveman brain cannot stand the thought of breaking a streak on an app for some reason. Fire good. No, make fire go away. And I kind of thought about making a whole video about how profoundly Be Real has fumbled their user base over the past year. But while the Greek tragedy that is that app is interesting to me, what's more interesting to me is a competition they ran at the end of 2023. Be Real did this promotional competition called The Realest Person on Earth, where users could submit a Be Real they'd taken throughout the year for consideration as the realest Be Real. A lot of the finalists wound up just being people in like cool places or doing crazy things. And I submitted one that I thought was pretty cool and it didn't go very far. I don't actually remember which Be Real I submitted, but I'm sure it was cool because I'm cool. I am actually very cool. So my plan for this video would be to essentially fake a Be Real by editing a picture to make it look like I'm doing something very cool and interesting, and then submitting that to this competition. So let me see if I can quickly mock up the coolest Be Real ever taken. All right, so to craft these Be Reals, I need to come up with an interesting place for me to be and maybe one other interesting element to add in. So I'm thinking, what if I were like on like a mountaintop or something? I had just climbed a mountain and like a low-grade celebrity was there. I'm on a mountaintop and then I can Photoshop like Vince Vaughn into the background or something. I don't know. Regardless, I'm gonna need a picture of myself in that environment, so I'm gonna take that really quick. Okay, picture has been taken. After taking the picture of myself, I went to Google Earth and I found a 360 view of a mountain, and I just took 2 screenshots from that 360 view to use as the background. Honestly, I feel like that doesn't look that bad so far. I feel like that's kind of good. And then we have plenty of room to sneak a low-grade celebrity in there. Honestly, already this is looking like really good. Now that we have that settled, it's time to make these interesting. So let's go ahead and add a low-grade celebrity. So I'm not 100% sure this is gonna work, but I did find this image of Ben Stiller in a parka, and I just think it's delightful. So I think we should try and use that if we can. Like maybe he can be just like he's slightly out of frame, you know? Like I'm not actually trying to get him in the frame. You know what? Yeah, maybe it's like it's more in the moment and authentic if he's not clearly in view. Like if he's just kind of hidden back there like this. It's very true to Be Real. It's like, oh, I was just trying to get the picture off before the timer went out, and my good friend Ben Stiller didn't get in frame in time. After that, it was just a matter of getting Ben and I to look like we were really mixed into the image, you know, matching the color, matching the lighting, making it look like Ben Stiller's photo wasn't taken on a camera that was 1 billion times nicer than mine. And look, I know my way around Photoshop, but this is not how I normally use it. I'm usually just in there trying to make some sort of silly design for my Instagram or for a YouTube video, so I was pretty pleased with the fact that a schmuck like me could do a halfway decent edit of Ben Stiller into the background of a photo of mine, and that it only took me an hour and a half. I don't know if it's gonna focus, but the Be Real just went off as I was doing this, so this is literally perfect. Once it's done, I can just take a picture of my screen and be done with it. Ben Stiller and I are chilling on this mountaintop. Now, the only thing is this front image is a little boring, so I might put in like a alien spaceship or something. UFOs are really hot right now, so let me throw a Banshee from Halo in this. Then the person reviewing these will be like, oh my god, this guy and Ben Stiller found a Banshee from Halo. This is the most interesting B-reel of the year. I do actually want to like freaking defy you to tell me that this isn't the most interesting B-reel of the year. Like, wait a minute. They found a freaking Banshee from Halo. I'm sorry. Last time I checked, nobody else had found a freaking Banshee from Halo. Now the last thing I have to do is take a picture of my screen. Okay, so first attempt did not work too well. Now because B-reel takes a picture from both cameras on your phone at once, it was kind of hard to flip my phone around in time to get both images. It took me like 20 tries, and this is what I wound up with. This is as good as it gets, okay? Everybody say, thank you, Jake. It looks very real. So now I'm gonna send it off, and that's it, actually, because there's no competition this year, because B-reel is like a dead app now and no one uses it, so they're not doing big promotional competitions anymore. While I'm at it, let me submit this to the MySpace Best of 2024 award. I wonder if I could win Viner of the Year this year. Oh, I just don't know. But there you have it, the greatest B-reel of all time. Ball's in your court, B-reel. Looks pretty epic to me, so pay up. I don't actually think there was a cash prize. I don't remember, but pay up. If you should pay up. Now, there were actually a lot of reasons why this didn't become a full-length video. Number one, the concept is maybe not worth doing for 20 minutes straight. And the other issue is sort of the elephant in the room about this idea, which is I came up with it in the beginning of 2024, and then 2 months later, the app was dead. The final video I will be speed running for you today is a video I was going to call, What is dad rock? Because dad rock as a concept has become such a huge conversation topic over the past few years, and I'm here for it. You know, I rock with Creed. I used to have a Human Clay tour shirt that I got too big for, but regardless, the general concept for this video was I wanted to take a look at what like the actual term dad rock means, where it came from, what it's usually used to describe, and then I wanted to talk to every dad I knew, every dad I could get my grubby little hands on, and get to know what their favorite artists are, so then I could make like a true dad rock playlist. So here is me doing just that. Dads. What are they? We don't know where they come from, and we don't know much about them. One thing, however, is certain, and that's that over the past decade, the cultural influence of dads has grown tremendously. Dad bods, dad hats, and of course, dad rock. Now, to me, the term dad rock is most closely tied to bands like Nickelback. These are the modern titans that hold space in the hearts and minds of disgruntled Midwestern fathers. But I think that my idea of what dad rock is definitely biased. When I was a kid, my dad was listening to Nickelback, so it's really possible that that's why I say Nickelback is dad rock. And so I'm left to wonder, what is dad rock? What is the true definition of this genre? There must be some sort of absolute truth about dad rock out there. A clear set of guidelines for what is dad rock and what isn't dad rock. And I need to find out what that definition is, because if there's one thing I hate more than not knowing a definition, it's embarrassing myself in public. And I cannot risk referencing a band in a conversation and saying that they're dad rock, and then finding out later that they're actually not dad rock at all, because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. They're actually mom rap, or uncle R&B, or like third cousin ska. But I do fear that it will be pretty hard for me to track down any sort of information about like who came up with the term. After all, it's a term that came out of the internet era, so there could be like 100 people taking credit for it, and who really knows where it came from. Oh, wait, no, just kidding. There's a Esquire article where this author, Rob Mitchum, claims to have invented the phrase dad rock. When Wilco released their 6th studio album, 2007 Sky Blue Sky, I wrote a scathing review for Pitchfork that introduced the world to the term dad rock. Okay, so there you go. Rob Mitchum invented the term in 2007, so that's it, I guess. Or so I thought. Because later in that same article, Mitchum writes this: dad rock had spilled over the banks of my review to describe most white guy rock music, an entire genre of clothes and humor, and even a certain body type. If my review was patient zero for the dad prefix outbreak, then watching it evolve from a snarky aside to a signifier of a generational style has been truly weird. And my first reaction to that is, okay buddy, getting a little big for your britches there. I don't know if one Pitchfork article started the trend trend of people saying dad bod, dad fashion, etc. And honestly, I was starting to get a little upset because I thought this guy was maybe just gonna lead me in circles talking about how he's a genius who invented this popular term. But then he says, I didn't invent the term dad rock. He tricked me. Rob Mitchum set up a classic bait and switch, and I fell for it. Just another battle in the endless war of wits that I find myself fighting with former Pitchfork writer Rob Mitchum. You got me this time, Rob, but next time, who knows? I'm gonna write the most confusing fucking article you've ever read in your life, buddy. But okay, so here is where we get to the actual truth of where dad rock came from. I didn't invent the term dad rock. I heard it from Chris Ott, a fellow Pitchfork writer. He got it from the UK press of the 90s. They use it to describe Oasis and Kula Shaker. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that. Oasis. And from what I can tell, that's where the term came from. A bunch of British people made it up in the 90s to make fun of Oasis. So by this definition, wouldn't dad rock just be like British rock from the 90s? That doesn't really work. That doesn't make sense. Because I can think of a bunch of bands right now that aren't British but still feel like dad rock to me. And that makes me feel kind of crazy. It kind of makes me feel like this term that was haphazardly pulled out of a media environment that's totally different from the one I currently live in can't define a genre the same way it would 30 years ago? That doesn't make any freaking sense. You sound insane right now. Maybe I went to the wrong source to figure out what dad rock is. Maybe the people who invented the term don't know what it means. So I'm gonna go straight to the source. I'm gonna go to the dads. I set out to interview 3 dads, which is far from a good sample size for any sort of real research, but luckily, this isn't research. This is a joke I'm doing for a YouTube video. Shut up. And if I do say so myself, the interviews got off to a great start. Just to confirm for the viewer at home, you are my dad, correct?
Yes, I am.
All right, awesome. Good to know. You are a dad, correct?
That's the first question.
That's the first question.
Yes, that is correct. Thank you for asking.
And you're welcome. With that question out of the way, it was now time to find out what these dads were rocking with. What are your top 5 like songs? It doesn't have to be a hard set list, but just give me 5 songs you really like.
Wow. Okay, that's a good question. Is it okay if I like bring up my Spotify to get some inspiration?
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I know posing this question, like if someone asked me this question, I would be like, I don't fucking know. I don't think I've ever listened to music before. Now you may be wondering where dad number 3 is. I said I was gonna interview 3 dads, and I've shown you 2 so far. I promise I'm not trying to short you on the number of dads you're getting today. The problem is I am the dumbest guy ever, and while I was interviewing my friend Collin, I messed up recording the meeting audio, and so I have no audio for what Collin was saying. And look, Collin is a wonderful parent, and I would love if you could hear their top 5 songs from their own mouth, but unfortunately, I guess I was just blinded by the hunt for knowledge, and I totally let that get the best of me. But all is not lost. I was very smart, and I wrote down what Collin told me. And between these 3 interviewees, the responses I was getting were very interesting.
Well, one that I know is like Always a Bop is Better Now by Post Malone. I love that song. Sounds so simple, but so catchy, and that's what I love about it.
Interesting. Good to know. Simple and catchy.
Why do I feel like that answer just like fell into some kind of trap?
Don't worry about it, okay? I know I made a whole thing and asked you to help me record this video with me, but just right now, I'm just asking you these questions as your pal.
Oh. So is this video titled like Getting to Know My Friend Danny's Music Taste?
Yeah, it's Becoming Better Friends with Danny. That's the title of the video.
Okay, but I'm gonna look at the title down there right now and see if that's what it is.
Well, okay, well, let's not get... Oh, no.
So we're going to start off with my first introduction really to rock, and that's Bill Haley and the Comets, Rock Around the Clock.
As for Collin and I's conversation, we started out talking about how we're both listening to Chromacopia, and both Sticky and Saint Chroma made it onto their top 5. Come to think of it, Danny also listed a Tyler song.
Where This Flower Blooms by Tyler, the Creator. That's one of my favorite Tyler songs.
Which was exciting to me, because maybe that means Tyler, the Creator is dad rock. But unfortunately, unfortunately, outside of that one connection, none of the responses seem to line up in any meaningful way.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Sayonara by Aries.
A classic.
Simple Man, but Shinedown did an acoustical version, and I love that one even better.
Probably gonna have to, unfortunately, pick a 21 Pilots song next. I'm gonna pick Chlorine by 21 Pilots.
Creedence Clearwater Revival and Midnight Special.
Yup, I know that's right. Like, I was hearing Shinedown from my dad, Aries from Danny, and anime intros from Collin. And Collin actually said that any anime intro would be in their top 5, so I just went ahead and put Again from Full Metal Alchemist in there, because I like that show. Collin also gave us Smoking Out the Window by Silk Sonic and Lil Boo Thing by Paul Russell, which are both great, and I like both of those songs. But how am I supposed to connect them to these?
Number 4 by Kansas, Carry On Wayward Son. Number 5 is the quintessential father and son song by Harry Chapin, Cats in the Cradle.
Oh, I gotta throw in like a wild card. I'm gonna throw in a total wild card. Down by Jay Sean.
These responses didn't seem to connect in any way, shape, or form. It seemed like I just asked 3 people what music they like, and they gave me different answers. And at the end of the day, maybe that's the truth here. Maybe all dads are people. And because of that, they'll have different tastes in music. And so actually, now that I think about it, that means the definition of what dad rock is anything any dad would listen to, which means all music is dad rock. Or maybe dad rock is just what we all kind of think of when we hear the term dad rock. It's like Nickelback and Daughtry and all those like bands from the 2000s. Even though that's a conclusion I probably could have arrived at if I had just thought critically for like 2 more seconds at the beginning of this video. And that's actually the reason I didn't make a full-length video about this, because I felt like it was just a little too silly. I love making videos that are really about like the process of doing something very dumb. Like I just made that ghost hunting video and that's all that is. And to do 20 to 30 minutes on what dad rock is just felt like it wasn't really necessary. But it was still fun to have these conversations with Danny and Collin and my dad and like get to know what their music taste was. And hopefully it was fun to watch. I don't know. You tell me. There's no way for me to know if this is fun to watch. And there you have it. Those are 3 of my most fun ideas from this year that I just couldn't make a full video for. And I'm so happy I got to share it with you guys. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video, because that's really nice of you, and you don't have to do that at all. What the hell? I hope the past year had some good moments for you, and I hope the next one can get even better. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
That's good business. These savings are driving me crazy. They don't call me Crazy Jake for nothing. I'm losing money on this.